This is Casey Kasem with our special countdown. In 1966, MGM released a song that had been composed and recorded by a 15-year-old New Jersey girl, and it just sat there. Radio stations wouldn't play it because the subject matter was too controversial. It was about two high school students who wanted to date against the wishes of the girl's family. She was white and he was black. So the record laid an egg for a whole year, until it was rescued by the world-famous conductor of the New York Philharmonic. On his television program in 1967, Maestro Leonard Bernstein proudly featured the young singer-songwriter, then 16, performing her non-hit. And that's all there was to it. Within weeks, her record had climbed the Billboard charts to number 14. That's number 36 in our countdown of the greatest disappearing acts of the rock era, Janis Ian and Society's Child. A few follow-up singles failed to make the chart for Janis, and her albums didn't do much better, so she left the performing end of the business. Where is she now? In Los Angeles, still writing, and one of her songs, she tells us, will be Roberta Flack's next single release.
American Top 40.
Well, now on American Top 40, I have the current hit by the first disappearing act to reappear on the national charts. A couple of years ago, we did a special program in which we tracked down the 40 greatest disappearing acts of the rock era. Artists who had one huge hit, then never made the chart again. Well, one of the artists we included in that show was a singer-songwriter from Bayonne, New Jersey, whose one big hit came when she was just 16 years old. That was back in 1967. It was a controversial record about an interracial romance. Do you remember Society's Child? Well, following that hit, the artist released several singles that went nowhere, and then she just dropped out of sight. But a couple of months ago, when we did an updated version of our Disappearing Act special, we had to eliminate her from the show. And the reason? Well, the reason was that she just cut an album that was beginning to attract attention, and we had a feeling she might just be on her way to making a comeback. And that's just what she's done. 5 weeks ago, she debuted on the Hot 100. And she's already one of the most talked about artists of the year. If you've listened to her current hit, I think you know why. Moving up to number 34 this week, here is the former disappearing act, Janis Ian.
American Top 40.
Well, now on AT40, the current hit by a former child prodigy who began playing piano at 3, guitar at 11, and who had her first top 20 smash by the time she was 16. The song was a controversial ballad about an interracial love affair. Earned more than $250,000 for the New Jersey teenager who wrote and sang it. But today, Janis Ian has second thoughts about making it big in the music business at such an early age. She says, and I'm quoting, "It's weird to be a child prodigy. You're never taken seriously because you're a walkie-talkie doll. Everybody continually expects you to be amazing and bright. Shrinks yell at you in the paper that you're sick. Your parents wonder why you're bothering. Your manager doesn't know what to do with you because you're 16 and want to be friends with 25-year-olds. Studio musicians won't play what you want, and you're not old enough to demand it without being rude. You get in a lot of bad positions, and there's nothing you can do about it." End of quote. Well, Janis dropped out of the music business when she was 19. And after 5 years of study and contemplation, she's back. Back and stronger than ever, and ready to make her statement her way. She moves up to number 23 this week with At 17.
American Top 40.
Well, now we're up to number 7, and the current smash by Janis Ian. You know, about a month ago, Janis appeared on a local TV talk show in Los Angeles, and when the host of the program asked her about songwriting, she told him, and I quote, "If I feel giddy, relieved, and drained, almost like I have a fever, then I know I wrote a good song." End of quote. Well, Janis must have had that special feeling when she wrote this song at 17.
I learned
Survey song number 7, moving up a couple of notches, Janis Ian with At 17.
American Top 40.
At number 3, I have the second chart smash by Janis Ian, who first made the pop chart, you'll remember, back in 1967 with a protest song called Society's Child. It was a huge hit for Janis, who was just 16 years old at the time. earned her a reputation as one of the most promising young singer-composers around. Well, looking back now on that first hit, she says, and I quote, "The problem with protest songs like Society's Child is that I was singing to people who felt the same way I did. I wasn't changing anybody or making any difference to the people who didn't feel that way. But now I think At 17 may make some difference to some kid in junior high." End of quote. Moving up a notch this week, here's Janis Ian. At 17. Janis Ian now at number 3 and moving up on American Top 40.
Casey's Coast to Coast.